Good morning, children. In our previous class, we have learned about the effects of force. Hope that you have revised that topic. Today, we are going to learn two new topics. The first one is forces are due to an interaction, and the second is about the nature of force.
Force and pressure. Forces are due to an interaction. In our previous class, we have learned that a push or pull on an object is called force. Now let's see some situations where we apply force. Suppose a man is standing behind a stationary car. Will the car move due to his presence? Definitely not. The car does not move if he does not apply any force. Suppose the man now begins to push the car, that is, he applies a force on it. Then in which direction the car begins to move? Yes, it begins to move in the direction of the applied force. This suggests that a person has to push the car to make it move. Let's see the situations where the two girls are applying force to each other. In the first case, both the girls are pushing each other, whereas in the second case, both the girls are pulling each other. Observe the third situation in which a man tries to pull a cow and in turn the cow applies a force. Thus both the cow and the man try to pull each other by applying force in opposite direction. From these three examples, we can infer that at least two objects must interact for a force to come into play. Thus, an interaction of one object with another object results in a force between the two objects. In other words, forces are due to an interaction. Next is nature of force. A man named Sam is trying to push a heavy box, but he finds it very difficult. Then he asks his friend Peter to help him. When both of them push the box in the same direction, it is much easier. But when Sam and Peter try to push the box at the same time in opposite directions, the box moves towards Sam. This indicates that Peter is applying more force than Sam. Similarly, in the game of tug of war, when the two teams try to pull the rope in opposite direction, the team applying more force wins the game. Thus, we have studied about the nature of force. That force applied on an object in the same direction add to one another. But if the two forces act in the opposite direction on an object, the net force, that is, the total force acting on it, is the difference between the two forces, that is F2 minus F1. So we learned that a force could be larger or smaller than the other, and the strength of the force is usually expressed by its magnitude. Also, we have to mention the direction in which a force acts. If the direction or the magnitude of the applied force changes, its effects also changes. The net force on an object is zero if the two forces acting on it in opposite directions are equal, as in the game of tug of war when the rope does not move. So all these are the nature of force.